Welcome back, everybody. So my next movie review for you is 28 Days Later. But once again, before I get into this review, if you enjoy watching my movie reviews, if you could please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, that would be very, very much appreciated. So 28 days, not weeks, later was released on the 1st of November 2002. Its director was Danny Boyle. It was made on a budget of £8 million or dollars. It is a British made movie, so I want to say pounds, and made 82.7 million in the box office. The cast in this movie consists of Cillian Murphy, Megan Burns, Naomie Harris, Brendan Gleeson, Christopher Eccleston, plus many, many others. So in this 28 Days Later movie, after a mysterious virus wreaks havoc across the United Kingdom, a group of survivors are trying to cope and deal with the aftermath of the disaster, as well as try and find security. So, what do I honestly think about this movie? I think this movie is absolutely fantastic made. It comes from one of the best directors in the world, in my personal opinion. I generally really do love Danny Boyle's work. I get a lot of entertainment from this movie, even though it is a zombie horror kind of movie. I still can sit down and watch this movie, even though there are some brutal parts in this, and still get exactly the same enjoyment as I did from the first time I ever watched it. There are many other reasons why I enjoy this movie, and I will get into them right about now. So here we go, 28 Days Later movie review. Now I'll be honest straight from the start, this is not the first time I've seen this movie. I haven't watched it in about 3 or 4 years. But this morning I woke up wanting to watch a zombie horror movie, and 28 Days Later was always going to be the movie that I go to first. And I love this movie so much. It's a very, very simply made movie. It's made on £8 million. I didn't expect anything fantastic from this, and what they show you and what they produce is still, in my eyes, a very entertaining watch. The plot line is not hugely complicated. They lay this out from the start of the movie of how the virus is started and spread, and then you've just got to focus on the character's survival throughout this disaster. It's simply done. It's not overcomplicated. It just makes it more about the climatic kind of build up in certain areas. It's not a gore fest either, this movie, like we've had in other past zombie movies where you get to see people getting ripped to shreds and ripped open. It's not hugely gory, and that fly that is fucking flying around me is going to die in a minute, and it's put me right off. But I will muddle through and I will carry on, okay? I'm not going to stop this because I've done too many takes on this one, and I'm not going to let a fly stop this from happening. Like I said, the characters in this are absolutely fantastic. Cillian Murphy in here is absolutely brilliant because he wakes up after this disaster has actually happened, and he has to adjust to this. In the beginning of this movie, he's very kind of weak, kind of not sure what's going on, and yet throughout this movie you see him take a dramatic change. He understands what he has to do to survive, and he does actually kind of test himself in certain places to see if he can actually do this. It's a great character development throughout the whole of this movie. I think it's absolutely fantastic in every single way what he did with his character. It's very enjoyable to watch him on screen as well, especially to see his transition throughout the whole of this movie. And it's exactly the same as Naomie Harris in here. Now I think she's an absolutely fantastic actor anyway. She is very ruthless in here and acts like she has got a cold heart. But on this side of the story, you get to see her change to more of a softer side, to a more of a compassionate side compared to when you first meet her. Again, it's a great character kind of transition in this movie. I absolutely love it. Even supporting characters in this all add their certain element. Even Megan Burns in this. Okay, she doesn't have a huge amount to say in here, but she adds her certain amount of intake to the movie, same as Brendan Gleeson and Christopher Eccleston, and this plot is getting very close to me. But put all those elements together, it's absolutely fantastic. Other things I really enjoy is just the visuals of this. You've got a deserted London, you've got a deserted United Kingdom. The logistical nightmare of actually making that happen must have been absolutely incredible. It really should. I know a lot of these shots were like kind of filmed early in the morning, or at weekends, I believe it was as well. But I just loved, this deserted UK. I mean, to wake up to that after being in hospital and just being presented with like your family being killed or most of the people in the United Kingdom killed, the adjustment to that would be something extremely which would be extremely hard to kind of adjust to. The zombies in this are different as well compared to what we're normally used to. They're not these kind of slow moving zombies where you've got time to actually think about what you're doing. And in this one, you haven't got that. They are fast, they are aggressive, they will run at you, and you have no time to think. It really adds to this movie as well because you have no time. They have no time to think. If these zombies are about, you have to run. There's no kind of thinking. It's all instinct. If they're coming at you, you run. It's as simple as that. It's not a huge gore fest in this movie as well. There are some gory and bloody moments in here, but they don't really heavily focus on like zombies ripping each other apart. Okay, so if you're expecting a lot of people getting eaten constantly and blood and guts everywhere, there is blood in here and there are some brutal scenes in this as well, but it's not heavily reliant on that. It's more reliant about how the survivors in this movie are dealing with this and their kind of fight to get some sort of security away from these zombies. I liked what they did. It has dramatic moments with some very suspenseful build-ups. The soundtrack in this movie as well is absolutely fantastic and used in exactly the correct places. There are a few creepy scenes in this. The one that stands out for me is when Cillian Murphy's character Jim is in the church. It generally creeps me out, and it's very simply done. I think they've done this and nailed that scene just in itself very, very well, because I was just like, that is actually quite creepy. And I was never scared through this, and you shouldn't never really be scared throughout this movie. I just think this new approach or different take to a zombie universe, as in them being fast, I just think it's an absolute fantastic watch in every single way for me. And I loved all the performances. I loved the way it was shot. I loved every single part of this movie, and I still get a lot of enjoyment from this movie. So if I was to rate this, again, it is going to be a 10 out of 10. It's as simple as that. I get a lot of enjoyment from it, and I will never slate this movie. And yeah, I could literally pick this movie apart and expect saying, why didn't you do that? Why don't you do this? But I don't want to, because I get that entertainment factor at the end of watching this movie. So it's as simple as that. It's getting a 10 out of 10 for me. So on that note, please tell me what you think. Put it in the comments down below. Is as normal. A fly is annoying me. Okay, please stay tuned for the 5 bonus facts, which are coming up right about now. Here we go, 5 bonus facts to do with 28 Days Later. Fact number 1, the mansion that is in this movie, Trafalgar Park, is actually near Salisbury, which is about 20-25 minutes away from where I live. Interesting fact, I didn't actually know that, to be fair, it was interesting. So, fact number 2, Danny Boyle cast athletes as zombies, and yes, you can see that because they are very, very fast and they're very, very aggressive, and they would need to be quite fit to be able to do this one. So, fact number 3, the motorway scene was shot on a Sunday morning between 7 and 9 a.m. in the morning. They used 10 cameras and only managed to get 1 minute of usable footage. So in a 2-hour shoot with 10 cameras, of all that footage that they shot, 1 minute of usable footage. That's it. That's all they got. That is a massive risk to shut down a motorway in this country, to be fair. And they did. Fact number 4. Horror novelist Stephen King bought out an entire showing in New York City. He is that much of a fan of this movie, apparently. Fact number 5. This movie was the first mainstream movie to be shot entirely digitally instead of using film, apparently. That was what I was reading. And there were a lot of facts on this about, obviously this movie was shot in London and they had to desert the streets of London, and they used to have to get permissions for this, and it was a bit of a logistical nightmare for them to do this movie in certain areas. But, there's so many facts, and I knew it was going to be mainly based around, a lot of the facts were going to be of like shutting down certain parts of London at certain points of the morning. And yes, you can actually see that in the movie that they did this very, very early in the morning during the summer as well, and like around about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, okay, that is a noticeable thing. It's not in the middle of the day as such, but I still enjoy the movie. I still get a lot of enjoyment from the movie. So on that note, I hope everybody has a great rest of the day, whatever you're doing. Please take care and goodbye.